Hello everybody and welcome to the GhostÉire Channel. My name's Anthony Kerrigan and tonight we are joined by Sandra, Mariah, Wright and also Leanne, Marrama, live from Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts. How you doing, ladies?
Hi,
doing great.
how you doing? We're doing fantastic. How are you?
Oh good. And interesting topics tonight as well to talk about there. So I'm going to be talking to Leanne and Sandra about candle magic. Also, Awakening the Crystals, a book that's just been published by Sandra and Leanne. And for the final subject of the show also is the Psychic Tea Show. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to put them forward during the show. We put them forward to Leanne and to Sandra there. A few shout outs. Hi, Julie. How are you doing, Julie? Hope you're keeping well. Also, Mary from Back in Time Paranormal. How you doing, sis? We'll see you again soon. Joanne, also from Seekers of the Afterlife. Good evening, all. How you doing, Joanne? Hope you all keeping well. David, how you doing, David? He says, hi, guys. How you doing? Barry, how you doing, Barry? How you doing? Barry says, hi, as well. So, yes, we're coming live through obviously Facebook there, but also live through our website www.ghostére.net. If you click on the red button, you can go and watch the show live before I come away from Facebook, or you want to catch up on it later on. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to put them forward. Our website address is www.ghostére.net. Go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a private message, just put in brackets private message. Also, our email address is ghost_era66@yahoo.com. And we also have a competition later on for us where you have a chance to go into our Halloween mega draw. We're up towards Halloween, we have some prizes to give away. So, first of all, Julie just says as well, fine, thank you all. I think that's what she said there. So my eyes have gone a bit. Thank you and thank you all. Perfect. First of all, there, before we're going to talk about any of the subjects there, Leanne, I'll come to you first there. You've both written books together. You both appear on a show together.
Yes, we do. Sandra and I have an amazing history together. We've worked together for years, and I think we've been friends for this lifetime and maybe several others.
Agreed.
And when did can you tell us what? Oh, I know we're supposed to pass and all that, but did you come down and sit together and put ideas together for books? And
Sandra and I have collaborated on events and the books and our events we actually host, and the tea, it's the psychic tea, which we do. We work really well together. We talk everything out, and don't mind my dog, light out, and we just work well together. I met Sandra maybe almost 20 years ago, right, honey?
I
don't want to date us, so I met Sandra last
time.
So that 20 years ago, I know it can be it's hard. Like I suppose I've written co-books as well with the books that we've done there, and it's trying to get various come with ideas and how to structure it.
What's really good is Sandra and I we have the ability to work through like who writes what and who's she understands what I'm good at with writing, and she's an amazing writer, so we collaborate really well. When I first met Sandra was at a ghost event, and I saw her sitting there, and Sandra's a very intelligent woman, and I think your nickname at that time was it the Bard?
The Bard, yes, the Bard of
brutality. And I think a lot of our friends were a little intimidated by her. And I thought to myself, well, there's a strong woman. I'm going to make her my friend. So while everybody else was running around looking for ghosts, I met Sandra, and a friendship sparked immediately, which was probably dangerous for other friends, but that's a story for another day.
And so, do you like to add anything onto that, Sandra? Do you memories of Leanne there?
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But it was, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like we just connected and we got along. And I was, I wasn't realizing that, people were considering me intimidating at the time. It's not like I was trying or anything. It's just, that's just how it was. And Leanne was sort of part of a group of people that, were discussing it, I guess, prior to the event or whatever. And so when she walked in and saw me, she was kind of like, I'm going to make a beeline over to her table and sit down and strike up a conversation with her. So she, she had the, boldness to, and I instantly liked her, and we just instantly hit it off. And I think everybody else was kind of like, oh, it's that easy? Yeah. I'm not, I'm not that scary.
Yeah, it's cool. That one of the team members that we met, that I co-wrote the book with, we met at a convention as well, a ghost convention. So it's amazing how these conventions are so important to have. Do you want to add that? Add anything onto that, Leanne?
I mean, meeting people face to face, there's no real substitute for that. I think it's great. The internet is wonderful because it connects us to people that we would never maybe be able to meet. But I also feel like that personal connection, there's just no substitute for it.
Sure,
yeah, when you're sitting down in front of a person, whether you're giving them a reading or working through candle magic, teaching a class, that one-on-one where you can actually truly bond with a person, that's how magic begins. That's what inspires spirit, is that energy between friends, between new friends, between people we've never met before. That's the best work we do.
And going on to magic there as well, we're going to go start off with candle rituals there. Barry has a question. I'll come to that question after this section there, Barry. But going on to candle magic, so you wrote a book, it was Lighting the Wick, was it?
Yes.
First book.
Yeah.
But talking about candles, can you tell us how are candles and the element of fire important in our lives? If you can answer that, Sandra, there.
You want me to take that one?
Or whatever,
You can grab that. We can both
you want me
say
to dive
something.
into that one first?
Go ahead. Go in and let's talk about the fire.
I mean, honestly, part of what separates us, from other creatures on the planet is mastering fire. That is a thing. And the fact that we were able to do that propelled our whole society forward. There is a power in fire. I mean, there's power in all of the elements, don't get me wrong. As an air sign, I've got to say, all of them have power, of course, but fire is, we associate it with action and getting things done. And so when we live life with him, we are inspiring spirit to bless. That's feeling, whether that's young love,
yeah, it's getting a bit fuzzy. I don't know.
It's seriously intense.
Can you hear me now? Is that a bit better?
I can hear you, but the fuzzy is louder than you.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that's about.
Okay. It could be just
spirit.
It's spirit. Could be that as well. The fear was there. Is there any particular time of the day or month or even type of emotion that enhances a sort of candle ritual earlier?
When you're working with candle magic, yes, it depends what is your intention. A lot of people will work the new moon, the full moon, the different cycles of the moon, depending on what intention they have. Many people work with the planetary hours as well. Say, if you're trying to do a luck spell, you're going to do it on a Sunday because that connects with the sun, and that's great for success and energy, health, and luck. So you're going to burn a yellow candle on a Sunday because you want to take the sun's energy. If you can even take it a step further and find out the planetary hour and do your magic on the certain planetary hour.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm going to go a bit more into detail about certain types of candles or scents as well, smells in that way. And what kind of instruments or objects are needed for a kind of a candle ritual there, Sandra? Do you need does it have to be a completely dark room? Can it be a bright room? Can you need a space?
So I do magic right here. This is the kind of the Gallows Hill Witchery office that I'm sitting in, and it was formerly the temple of this house until we created a whole new temple on the top floor. So this space holds a lot of energy. When I come in here to do work, I'm going to light a candle regardless of the time of day. Now, obviously, at night, you're going to be able to see the light from the candle better. But I have done candle magic at any hour of the day. And to Leanne's point, it would be dawn would be like the first hour, the planetary hour. So if you could get up at dawn on that Sunday and start that candle magic. So as the light and the sun is entering the sky, that candle is grabbing that energy, that first beautiful break of light across the sky. So, yeah, I mean, you can, yes, of course, it's a lot of people associate candle magic with the dark, like do ritual at night, maybe it's midnight or what have you. But we have done candle magic at all hours of the day. So it's, again, can be what you're working on. Maybe, you're working on something where you want the sunlight, you want the sun to enter into that space. Other times, definitely the moon is more appropriate, and watching the phases of the moon, it all depends. And the days of the week that are associated with certain planets. So maybe you're planning on working with Jupiter, and so you're going to plan that for a Thursday, and you're going to look at the hours and decide, okay, that's one of the hours of Jupiter, so I'm going to really pump this up. And then there are emergencies. If I get a phone call that says so-and-so just got in a car accident, I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to plan that ritual for next Sunday. Obviously, I'm going to immediately go to action and start that magic immediately.
Yeah, oh God, that's just the way you explained it there, Sandra, is so cool. So it's very interesting. No, it's very interesting to know and all this there, because that's stuff that I don't know this stuff, and it's cool the way you're explaining it there. Just a few more shout outs. Julie says, I'm getting crackling fuzzy noise. I don't know. I suppose it could be just the going over the Atlantic Ocean. We blame it on that. the coverage there. Irene says, hello, all. Irene from California. How you doing, sis? How you doing? Barbie says the sound isn't great, but it could be changed now. It might be different now, hopefully. There.
I think it sounds better.
It probably sounds better now. I think I did a little change with the mic. It could be my mic now. Mary says, and that was a few minutes ago, Mary says, sometimes when you meet people face to face and you can feel the energy, the connections made can be extremely powerful without even opening your mouth to speak. I met Mary last weekend there. I don't know if that happened. I'm only joking. So, do you agree with that, Leanne? I'm only messing.
Yes, absolutely. That's when you meet someone, you don't have to speak. You just know right away. And maybe that's what happened when I met you, Sandra. I just knew it.
Because we read each other's energy.
Yeah, we read each other's energy. I sat down and I'm like, this is going to happen. We are going to make history. And it happened. And it's so great to work. I think some of your listeners can understand this. When you meet a good partner in life, okay, whether it's a friend, a romantic relationship, or business, or when you're creating art, it's a deep thing you get into. So we call our books our babies. They're like our babies. Our baby, we're going to take care of it. And it's great. We actually have a lot of fun when we write, and I think we share the load of work very well. And yeah.
Now we'll just get down to the gossip between yourselves as soon. But so I'm only joking.
It looks like I'm frozen. Can you guys still hear
You're
me?
moving.
No, you're moving.
Oh, I'm moving. It's weird on my screen. I'm like frozen. That's crazy.
I thought you were going to start singing.
Spirits.
It's the spirits. These are the spirits.
These are the spirits.
I might get you to sing soon there, Sandra, as well, before the end of the show. Alice says, good evening to all. Hi, Alice. How you doing?
Hi, Alice.
Paul O'Brien. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Hope you're not too busy there. I hope you're back over and all safe now. Chrissy says the sound is better.
Oh,
That's
good.
Great. That's perfect. That's good for singing later on. Joanne says from Seekers of the Afterlife, when meeting someone for the first time and you immediately don't particularly like or click, said person can be a weird feeling and you may not know why. Yeah, there's times like that as well with certain people you just don't feel like it, you know.
And you should listen to yourself. If you get that feeling when you first meet a person, trust your instincts, your initial ones.
True. We're going back to a couple more questions for the candle magic because I love this subject there. Like, is there particular types of candles like pillar or tapper? These are types of shapes of candles like that. Do they have any effect on the type of ritual?
Well, different shapes burn for different lengths of time. So that's a factor because you don't want to leave burning candles unattended. So when you're planning what you're doing, you can plan out the type of candle that you're going to use based on the amount of time you're going to spend in that ritual or spend in the space so that you can monitor that candle. So when I'm working in this space, if I light a rose and I know I'm going to be in this space for at least 3 hours, and I can light that votive, let it burn enough. If I want to snuff it and relight it the following day, then I can do that. And especially with devotional candles, a lot of times we will use really huge pillar candles because we're going to light them and relight them over and over and over again. And Leanne's going to grab one. So that's the type of candle where, you know, you're going to work with that candle over a span of time. You want that candle to bless it and dress it once, but you're going to relight it, snuff it, and relight it many, many times because that's a working that you're doing that's a long-term working. If you're doing something quick, like someone's got a job interview coming up and they're like, hey, give me a little boost, then you might just do a little tea light and, you know, send that energy off, you know, especially if you don't have a lot of time to mind that candle. So a lot of times we'll just use little tea lights for certain things, and you can do one every day. In fact, during the pandemic, I went through boxes and boxes of tea lights because I was lighting candles every single day and night.
I love fire. I'm a fire sign myself there, and I just love lighting things. You know, even during the summertime now when it's going to be 20 degrees, a heat wave here, which is 20 degrees, I'm going to be lighting a candle. But I'll come to your questions there, folks. But as well, Leanne, I'm just going to come to Leanne with this question. Is there any particular, because there's a lot of people watching in the paranormal community, paranormal investigating, is there any particular candles useful for enhancing spirits to come forward?
Often, if I am doing a seance or trying to communicate with the dead, I'll use a black candle to open up the realms of the unknown, or a white candle for its purity. And sometimes we light both. Occasionally, I'll add a red candle for protection and strength. Or if I really want them to come through and I want to hear them, especially if you're doing ghost hunting, you might want to use either a lavender or a silver candle because that will heighten your psychic ability. So you can catch those messages and the intention of spirit. It just gives you the extra boost. Working with the colors, different colored candles will help you pinpoint what it is that you're hoping to manifest or make happen.
Yeah, well, I remember the first time I went to Ghost Hunting now, the first time 13 years ago there, the first thing I got was a lavender purple candle. And I love the smell of lavender there. But I remember my wife Jennifer, she was in a room and it wasn't ventilated. And the first time she had lavender there, she was seeing loads of images of stuff there. So, yeah, lavender, I love lavender there. But coming to just a few more questions. Also there, because I heard, is this true? I don't know, one of you can correct me there. I don't know if I said it to you before, Leanne, is different smells attract different types of genders as well. Like males are more associated, they're more fond of perfume, sweet scents, and women are more attracted to woody kind of scents. Is that correct or not?
Well, in life, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, different herbs will be used in different, you can burn them, create your own incense, or you can bless a candle, roll your candle in the different herb. And you can use mugwort. That's excellent for opening up your clairvoyant abilities. I always burn, the dead are attracted to mugwort, wormwood, different things.
Alice said,
yeah, that's great for spirit. But if you really want to attract, everybody has different smells. Everybody says that men like floral smells. My boyfriend's not very fond on the rose smell. I think everybody has their own thing that they like. Some people like musky. Some people like more, like you said, pine or things like that. There's the intent, and then there's, hey, somebody likes the smell.
Yeah. I know it can be different, I suppose, with different people there. It's usually my stomach with hunger that usually attracts me. Is it because we are all on a different vibrational energy, maybe? That's what Alice says.
Absolutely. I agree with Alice. I believe everybody has their own energy vibration, and they have their own spirit. So you like what you like. I love vanilla. I love the smell of vanilla.
True, and I suppose that's with people as well, like who you're fond of and who not as well. Bai says, is it just me? Does it actually look like Mark Cattis? I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, I'm better looking. I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that person, so I can't say.
Yeah,
you have to explain. I don't know either. That's
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. But also Barry wants to know as well about, I think it's James Randi. You've heard of James Randi, obviously, there.
Indeed.
Yeah. What's your opinion on James Randi?
So this is the amazing Randy, right?
Yeah.
That wanted to try to debunk that there were any, psychics and that psychic ability didn't exist and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, I think he was James Randi there. There's pros and cons with him as well. There, I suppose, with the things with it, there he's willing to help parapsychologists with psychop was scientific. It's psychop. Yeah, I forget now what it stands for. Claims of the paranormal, I think it is there. But I think it's. Do you have any information you want to give there, Sandra, to that?
His work has never had an impact on our work. The work that Leanne and I have done for decades is not diminished or, we don't require anyone's approval or validation. The work that we've done is real. We've helped people, and that's what matters to us. Not that there's a skeptic out there who's a very famous skeptic who is trying, for reasons passing understanding, to make people think that there's nothing to psychic ability. The people who have communicated with their dead and found peace and comfort, the people that have made better decisions going forward in their lives and feel that their lives have been transformed by getting the heads up from a psychic reading, the people that have found out things that were beyond their vision from a psychic that were integral to from everything from someone actually finding out that they needed to go to the doctor about their heart, which quite literally saved that person's life. None of this is diminished by whatever, business James Randi has achieved for himself. His work is very different than our work.
True, yeah, it's completely different. I know James Randi was it 18 teenagers there that got into a test for PK, psychokinesis, I think it was there, and they came up as in they were the last ones to actually come through the trial, and they were doing tests on them, and they explained the flaws in what was in the test for PK, which the parapsychologists were doing there. But that was there's the pros and cons. That sometimes he's a magician. That sometimes working with magicians is supposed to be better for parapsychology and actually learning the flaws of what some people are defrauding as well. But it's an interesting subject there. But as well, there's a lot of people that are in between it as well. Like I know there's Yuri Geller and Randy there, the big controversy between them two there. And then there's those people like in between there that actually have the right purpose for doing stuff then as well. So a few more questions. Alice says beeswax is a nice earth is nice and earth friendly. I make my own wax candles, but not spell candles. But I guess I could do an affirmation when making them.
Absolutely. We both adore beeswax candles.
Love beeswax.
We both have a great love for Apollo, and Apollo is associated with bees. And so beeswax, I actually got Leanne last year for her birthday a 7-day beeswax candle.
And Joanne, so
that's that candle, and a lot of candles cannot. It's not just for spell work; it can be for devotional work, like Sandra was saying. I use that candle as an offering and a devotional candle to the god Apollo. Very similar to going to church and lighting a candle to the Blessed Mother or a saint.
And like going back to how candles were formulated in the past, is it tallow? Am I correct? Sorry, am I correct? I didn't say it right.
Way back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, tallow.
Yes, it was quite a process to make candles. Back in the day, it was, very time consuming, and when it was tallow, did not.
I know, yeah.
Smell good.
It doesn't smell good, yeah. What about roses? What about roses? Keep following me. I suppose it's the scent of roses there.
Did you associate them with someone from your past? Someone that may have passed on? Do you have an association with roses? And yes. It might not even be the flower itself, but perhaps someone had like dishes that had the pattern of the rose, like that Royal Albert that Leanne loves, that has those gorgeous roses. Somehow roses and the image of a rose might be a reason that keeps coming up for you.
Yeah, Paula says, yes, many roses there. So
yeah, and they're a message of love. I mean, they're kind of a classic flower indicating love. So if someone's trying to get a love message from across the veil, they may be using that.
Also, Barry says he played Sherlock in... he played Sherlock's brother in Sherlock there. I think that's to do with James. I'm not too sure with James if he did that there.
Oh, you mean the actor that you think Anthony looks like?
Oh, right. I thought you were about James.
Brother?
Oh, he played Sherlock.
Oh,
Sherlock's
okay.
Okay. Well, I'll check that out there.
I'm gonna have to look at that picture of that guy again.
Yeah, I hope he's good looking.
Right.
It doesn't matter as well. It's Joanne says it's okay to be a non-believer. It's okay to be skeptic. It's okay to be a believer. Just respect other opinions. Yeah. That's
agreed.
True.
Agreed. Yep. We are not in the business to debunk or to try to prove ourselves and our work to other people. If you don't believe in readings, if you do not believe in the afterlife or paranormal, then stay in your lane.
Yep. Thank you.
Stay in your lane. Yes,
Cal-
right. If
Stay in
you
your
do
lane.
thing,
Exactly.
carry on.
Cal says hello, everyone. So next now, folks, we're coming to competition time. So you got to have a chance to go into our little kind of competition there, and you have a chance as well, Leanne and Sandra as well. I think Leanne, you were in it last year there in the draw there,
Yes,
and I
I
think
did.
you were very close to winning there. You were last 2 balls out of the bingo balls which we're doing the last 2, which was unfortunate there. But so we want the first person to type this word. So if you're listening, folks, I'm going to give the word that you have to type in. So the word is amethyst, as in the crystal. So it's AMETHYST, amethyst. And now this is kind of difficult maybe for some to write it down, but if you can be the first person to type that word in, you're in a chance to go into the competition. So we're just waiting there for a few people. Joanne,
there we go.
Joanne is in there. Joanne's the first one. Joanne, you're in it already, so you might get your name in twice. And Paul as well. Paul, we just put Paul down as second there. So Joanne gets it right. Make sure, yeah. So Joanne. So stay tuned, Joanne, and then we'll go. We'll get more information. They're all coming in now. People are putting out. Some people are swearing. So I don't know if they're saying something else there. Yeah, so they're all coming in now. Okay. So the next subject, folks, is going to be talking about Awakening the Crystals, which is the new book, which is published by Leanne and Sandra there. And we're going to talk about crystals now. It's another interesting subject to talk about there. First of all, I suppose I'll come to yourself there, Sandra there. How long did it take to write this book?
You know, we did it super fast because we had just finished Lighting the Wick, and the publisher was like, we actually do want the crystal book, because originally we had put a proposal in that said we could either do the candle book or a book on crystals. And they were really excited about the candle book. So they wanted that one. So they snatched that idea and they were like, let's do this. So we weren't even really done writing the candle book when they came back and said, actually, how fast can you write the crystal book? And we were like, whoo. So it really only took us a few months to write Awakening the Crystals. And we were off and running, and we were in the zone because we had been writing the candle book. So we just kind of rolled right into writing Awakening the Crystals.
And going back to like using crystals in the history of crystals there, Leanne or Sandra there, can you tell us there where is it first used in history, or where is it first recognized as?
You take this, Sandra.
I'm telling you, people have been carrying like a lucky rock since people picked up rocks. I mean, like people have associated that as a good luck talisman or a protection talisman since before there was like written history. But there's a ton of, like the breastplate of the High Priest. Leanne and I always laugh about that because it seems like everything was on this breastplate. It's really 12 stones that were on it, but it just always seems like everything was on the breastplate of the High Priest. But like through history, people have associated different gems with good or sometimes bad luck, with protection, with healing, and of course they have actual value, like diamonds, rubies, gemstones have actual monetary value and were traded as such. Like people had gems and might use it as a form of currency. So it's always been associated with prosperity, luck, healing, protection, and even love. I mean, that's why we give a ring with a stone on it. That's associated with love. So they've always been associated with some of the most important things to us, to humankind. So it's just kind of come down to the dawn of time. Almost anyone can tell you what their birthstone is. I mean, these are things that we just kind of grew up knowing, and we associated that as our little good luck charm.
True. Yeah, because mine's topaz. Topaz, and amethyst was secondary one there. So, which star sign's that testing you?
So topaz is a November, usually like associated with November. The like the kind of golden color topaz is associated with November.
Yeah, it's December.
My mom preferred the amethyst, but amethyst I usually associate with February. Right. So, but my mom liked amethyst better, so we acted like that was hers, but hers was topaz.
Yeah, I like amethyst is my favorite one as well. I was going to say, Leanne, what's your favorite crystal there? Do you use?
Oh, I have to admit, I do have a couple, but I will talk about one of my absolute favorites, since I just can't stop wearing garnet, which is great for strength and a little feeling sexy and protection, extra boost to my energy and power. But my second favorite crystal is moonstone, because it really helps me with my day-to-day work as a psychic. Really helps enhance my psychic ability. Makes me feel very, very connected to the goddess. It helps me connect to my divine feminine. Makes me feel strong as a woman. Yay! And yeah, I love moonstone. And plus, I'm a
your beautiful
and
black moonstone sphere is here.
I forgot. Yes. And that's what's awesome about moonstone. It took me to write the book to understand that moonstone just didn't come in that beautiful white, shiny, opalescent color. It also comes in a wonderful black tone. So it reminds me of the three phases of women in the goddess. So you have your maiden, you have your mother, and then the crone, which is the black moonstone.
Because there's red or peach.
There is a
moonstone
red
as well.
And Sandra, what's your favorite kind of crystal that you use?
This is a tough one, man. I'm telling you. I have so many. I usually like to talk about my grounding stones. So I have like 3 levels of that sort of grounding and centering. And when you're doing paranormal work or psychic work, you definitely want these in your arsenal. So the first one with the lightest level of grounding would be smoky quartz. And that would be good if you just need a little bit of that grounding, but you still want to be really super open with your psychic, connections to spirit. And the next level for me is black tourmaline. In fact, I have a big battery right here. And I love that for that sort of mid-range grounding. And it is also protective. So especially if you think you're going into an area with any kind of hostile spirit, you would definitely want to take that along. And then the heaviest level of grounding for me is hematite, which I sometimes wear. This happens to be aura hematite, but this is the classic hematite. It kind of has that silvery tone. And then this is the aura hematite, which is the more of a golden tone. And that's the heaviest. So that'll pretty much knock you out of the spirit world. You don't really want to be holding this when you're doing that work, but to bring you back down from that, if you feel like you're kind of overwhelmed and you don't feel like you're back in your mundane self, you can get a hold of that hematite, and that'll bring you right back down. Eating will help too, because nothing gets you back in your body faster than your digestive system kicking in.
True, yeah, that's most definitely there. I'm always starving after an investigation. That brings me definitely back in again. Siobhan says, hi, Siobhan. How you doing, Siobhan? Also, I think David as well. David Healer as well says hi. How you, David, as well? Also, just coming back to a few of your questions there. Joanne says, love crystals. I wear an amethyst every day. Can you tell me anything about Lemurian crystal? I have a small piece.
I am not as familiar with Lemurian crystals. I don't personally work with them. I don't have one in my collection. I know it sounds crazy, right? I just don't think the piece has come to me yet. But I do think that it's associated perhaps with getting in touch with like the Akashic record and some like past life work and ancestral work and stuff like that. I believe the Lemurian crystals are associated with that. And I have other stones that I work with for those things. And to me, clear quartz crystal can be pretty much programmed for anything, much the way one of the listeners was mentioning that if you don't have the colored candle that's associated with your intention, you can use a white candle. That's clear quartz crystal. And so I've been very successful with clear quartz and have not necessarily had to look for a Lemurian crystal. What's been your experience with it? If you don't mind typing in, have you worked with it yet, or are you kind of waiting to find out more about it before you work with it? Sometimes I'll work with a stone first and then research it because I want to see how my experience stacks up with what's out there as the lore. And other times I'll learn about a crystal and be like, ooh, I have to get some of that. So it's kind of funny. Sometimes I'll be drawn to something and I actually won't look it up until after I've had time to sort of sit with it because I want to see my experience outside of everything that's been written on it so far.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's another sort of question there is like these crystals, they can come in and out of your life, different various ones.
Sometimes for a while, I was all about, well, when I write, I'm all about fluorite. Fluorite, everything. Keep me focused, keep me writing, keep me creative. And then I put it down. Goes away in its little black bag, and I rest it. And then there's crystals I wear every day. Amethyst, garnet, carnelian. Those are my go-to. Adventuring, wonderful. It helps me with, my own personal beauty. It helps me feel great. It is wonderful for abundance. There's actually a citrine and an aventurine sitting in the register at Pentagram in Salem to boost sales, to make us abundant, all that.
Absolutely.
We'll come to where you work as well eventually. I mean, at the end of the show, just so people know where you as well. Mike says hi. Mike's from Manchester and he's saying hi. Hi, Mike. How you doing as well? Joanne, maybe just following up on because she put that question forward. Working in a shop, I tend to pick up the heavy energy of people's troubles and woes, bit draining. And she says, I put it under my pillow. This is what she does with the illuminating crystal. I think this is what she's saying. And had extremely vivid dreams. Don't know about the crystal. Was just drawn to it. This crystal after a craft fair.
It may also be associated with dreams or dream work, astral travel, and things of that nature. So yeah, definitely look into it. I am going to as well because it seems like I'm being tapped to work with it. So since you brought it up, I will be seeing if I can acquire some and seeing what I get from it.
So I'm just going to show the people the book there. So it's Awakening the Crystals. I'm going to add a link later on there where you can find a good few of Sandra and Leanne's books here. So this is, oops, I've just taken it off. So there we go. Awakening the Crystals there. So there was a post up during the week as well with a link to it as well. So feel free to buy it there. It's great if you have knowledge there. It'd be something I'd be looking into as well there, along with scrying mirrors. So that's a joke looking into. Let's go down the side. Anyway, so yeah, that's Awakening the Crystals there, and also we have.
And this is the British version of Reading the Leaves.
Oh wow!
This was published in England in hardcover, and it has the beautiful golden kind of gold leaf in the symbols in the cup. So this is the first book from us, Reading the Leaves. And that's it. You can get that, pretty much anywhere books are sold, but there's a really cool British version in hardcover that you can get at like Waterstones or any of the British stores, the English stores that you like.
Sorry, I'm only joking. Waterstones. I'm only joking. That means you're very good. Not like this. Waterstones. I'm only joking. Paul's just coming to a few more shout outs because it's such a great topic. This there. Like the first crystals I used, there was red jasper. But as you say, clear quartz, I've got that as well. I know first, as you say, clear quartz is well, it works so many
Paul,
ways.
rose quartz is a beautiful rose crystal. Also, rhodochrosite, which was named after the rose, and it looks kind of like the petals of a rose. So if you can find rhodochrosite, that's another really beautiful stone that would work for rose quartz, rhodochrosite.
Alice says, yes, I love rose quartz and fluorite too. That's the question. So coming to the, like how charging and cleansing, is it how do you charge? Alice is asking, how do you charge your crystals?
I'd cleanse it first.
Yeah,
before I charged it.
Absolutely. And there's a number of ways to do that.
There's so many different ways, isn't there? A lot of people will just wash it if the crystal can handle. First you cleanse it, you can wash the crystal, and then afterwards you can run it through incense, smoke. Some people leave it out so that the sunlight and the moonlight can bless it. But sometimes
you just want to check before
water.
You run it in water. You want to make sure that it's able to be run in water, because there are some crystals you shouldn't put in water. Incense is a great way because they can all be cleansed with the smoke. So incense is a good way. And we like frankincense and myrrh. Some people use Palo Santo. Some people use sage. Whatever your sacred smoke is in your tradition, that would be for cleansing and blessing. That's what I would use.
Joanne says, thanks, Sandra, for the info. Book looks very interesting, ladies. Congratulations there. Yeah, it looks class there.
Thank you.
Steve says, Joanne, check your inbox. Okay. Paul says,
I want to spell rhodochrosite for him.
Yeah,
so it's RHODOCHROSITE. Rhodochrosite.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
So another question. So last question on crystals there before I go, and probably two more. So I'll go with Sandra there first. There with this one there. Does crystals they make more maintenance? Say for cleansing and charging than say candles and say talking boards or say other kinds of divination tools? Do they need more?
Well, because you work with crystals over time, they're going to require more cleansing, because a candle, you're going to cleanse it, bless it, and use it, and then it's gone. With a crystal, you're using it over time. You're carrying it with you, or you're working with it on an altar or something. And so, I like to keep kyanite, which I have some blue kyanite to show you. I like to keep kyanite with my crystals. So if I'm wearing things like stretchy bracelets, keep a piece of kyanite with those. If I have a pouch where I carry some tumbled stones, I'm going to keep a piece in there, because not only does this never need to be cleansed, it cleanses the other stones around it. So once you've done that initial cleansing and blessing with a new stone that you're working with, keep it with some kyanite to keep it clean.
Okay. And Leanne, there going on to about crystals and for the future, do you feel that it's getting more influential, like say in the paranormal community now, or like people investigating?
Absolutely. The use of crystals it's incredible. It's becoming very mainstream. I see a lot of people in the paranormal world using them for whether they're using them for protection or to amplify the messages and spirit activity You got to look at a crystal. It's a battery that comes from the earth. It's literally a gift from the Great Mother that gets, I don't know, to me, it's right in our own computer there that we're using right now for communication. There's crystals in that. So if you want to speak to the dead, if you want to really, you know, understand what is in a home or a place, have it right on my finger. I have a labradorite. And it
I
will
was
absolutely
just about to show.
no way,
Rick.
no way. We're so weird.
I was just about to show this labradorite.
So a labradorite will actually heighten spirit activity. So if you are somebody who is doing ghost hunting, carry a labradorite with you. You'll see some stuff flying around. It'll be cool.
Cool.
But it's also great to use a crystal when you come home. After a lot of seances and a lot of spirit work, I'll plop a black obsidian right in my bathtub with a little sea salt, and that'll help bring me down to, you know, my energy will calm down, but it will also protect me against any. You don't want to take them home. You don't want to take the ghosts home, guys.
True,
well, leave them where they are.
I might follow you, especially if you got a bath. I've only got a shower.
Yes, one.
So, Alice says, I use Palo Santo. I love to smell it and put it in the moonlight. And that was from Alice side. And Paul says, Rhodo, Closite, thank you. So, yeah, so. Competition time. So you've got a chance now. I'm going to go with Leanne and Sandra first there before yourself there, Joanne. I know there's a time lack. Paul there, but can't get away with that saying that. And Chair, I don't know if you're being cheeky there, but this is the competition. So you're all you, Joanne, Sandra, and Joanne as well. You're all in a castle in Romania, and you have a choice between 4 sections of the room to use an SLS camera. You know, the figure matchstick fella kind of thing. So you have a choice. You have either the vase to shine the camera on, A, either in front of the piano, B, in front of the model, the bust, C, or on the chair, D. Now, which one would you like to think that the ghost of Lady Maria shows herself? Got to go first, Leanne? Either the vase, the piano.
He took mine.
What are you going for? What you going for there, Sandra?
I wanted to say the piano. That's the first thing I like when you first showed the picture. I was like, it's going to be the piano.
Okay, so you're going to go for the piano as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and Joanna said the chair. Okay, so Joanna said the chair. Okay, you'll find out there shortly. There at the end of the show, we're going to play the videos and see. If you're all right there, or put your name in the draw. So the last thing I'm going to talk about now is the Psychic Tea Show, which you both co-host there. Can you tell us how often is the show go out to be aired?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yep.
And
usually it's the first Thursday of the month.
First. And how long, Leanne, does it take to prepare an episode? On like how do you have a format kind of show?
there's a process of us, you know, acquiring a guest, and that can take months before. I try to make my tarot pull, because I pull a card. I try to do it like as close to the time as possible, so it can be an accurate read for the month. So that I do the night before or the morning of. And Sandra and I really flow well. Like topics of magic, the gods, our psychic work that we do come rather easy. So, you know, we'll discuss several times. We'll even discuss what we're going to talk about over sushi. But it's relatively an easy process. The hardest thing to do is to prepare our guests and to prepare our questions for our guests, so they have, you know, just like you, Anthony, you know, how to set them up, how to prepare them for the show.
And
I don't do
honestly, we
it.
let a lot of the conversation be completely organic.
Mm.
We'll set goals of like, oh, we need to bring up that new book you've got coming out, or we need to talk about, prosperity magic or something. But there are many times where we never send a list of questions or anything to any of the guests. We just sort of give these baskets of topics, and then it all just happens. And in terms of the astro forecast, that's Tim Soaringwolf's department. And I can't really comment on how long it takes him to take a look at what the planets are doing, but he gives about a 5-minute report of what we can expect over the coming month. And that's always very valuable to people. And then I talk about stones. And a lot of times I will, like Leanne, either the night before or the morning of, decide, yeah, this is what I think. This is the vibe. And what's crazy is I don't talk to Tim, and neither does Leanne, about the forecast. She won't talk to me about the tarot card, and I won't talk to anybody about the stones, and it'll all interact. And we're like, and there it goes, because we're all like on a wavelength where you're getting the same vibes and we're reacting to them. And so we love to just let all that happen. We just let the magic happen.
Yeah, it's great when you go sort of matches intertwines then as well, and then you can which course of direction it's going with the readings there as well, like for the month there. The show was established pre-COVID there. It was 2018, is that correct? Have you found that people's opinions have changed? They've tuned in a lot more, not because of the pandemic, but people got more time, but people are more tuned in because they've gone more spiritual?
I don't know. That's kind of a tough call. I think definitely when we were doing tea time every single day, because in the beginning of the pandemic, Leanne and I were hosting a Zoom every morning. So it was like people were connecting from all different places and all different, whatever walks of life. Everybody was coming together on this tea time every single morning, and it would sort of start and anchor the day for everybody. And that really, we saw an uptick during that time. We saw a lot of people delving really deeply into their spirituality. And I think everything kind of has an ebb and flow, but I definitely feel like right now what we're seeing is it's reaching people that maybe in the past were, kind of not into it or didn't want to believe. Maybe they were skeptical. Maybe they were like, nah. But so much has happened through the course of this pandemic. We've seen definitely an uptick in people who want to speak to the dead. That I will say. More and more and more people are interested in mediumship. And I think that's partly because we lost so many people over the last 2 years that how could we not be seeing an uptick in the people who want to speak to their dead?
And Leanne, what are the plans for the show there? Have you got any future guests or any ideas that I can be nosy on that I can take off you? I'm only joking.
Who are we having next? Who are we having next, Sandra?
Well, for June, we're going to host Thorn Mooney. So she's an author, Gardnerian High Priestess, and she's got a YouTube channel, and you can find her on Instagram, etc. And she's on TikTok and everything. But like Leanne is the star of TikTok. Like Leanne's TikTok is just the Pentagram's TikTok is out of control. So when it comes to TikTok, it's like Leanne's killing it.
Yeah, please, check out Pentagram's TikTok.
Pentagram's TikTok.
It's funny. Some of them are so funny.
Some of them are
really
funny. Some educational.
Some are serious. Yep.
And going back to where you both work, because you're both in Salem as well, and Leanne, you're the Pentagram Magic Shop. Is it the Pentagram Shop now? Is it?
It's Pentagram Shoppe. I'm the co-owner. I'm the proud co-owner of Pentagram Shoppe in Salem.
And
I do international phone readings now.
yeah,
If you have WhatsApp,
that's good.
I
That's
do
good.
International phone readings. Yeah.
I love it.
And also, do you do as well? Is a shop, an online shop? Is it still? Is that international now? Can people purchase?
It is not. We are not yet. We're working on being able to. We're working on being able to accommodate international shoppers. That's next to come. But right now, if you want a reading with me or one of our amazing psychics, we do have WhatsApp, but we also have Zoom, so you can actually see and meet your psychic you're working with.
Oh, cool.
Zoom, I think, is fantastic for psychic work.
It's so much fun. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And
I've done readings over Zoom, and it is great.
And Sandra, yourself, you have a shop as well. Like, you tell us the name of the shop.
Gallows Hill Witchery, and it's not a proper brick and mortar. I do live sales online, and I've done them for 4 years. I was one of the first people to ever do crystal live sales. I know there's a ton of them now, but I started it. And I also do pop-ups. So I'm vending at some events that are happening here in Salem and the surrounding area. I have Spirit Beacon psychic fairs that I vend at, and I own that. And so the next one of those is in November. So yeah, I go to events. Leanne and I both do events. We go and we teach and vend, and it's super fun. And we're going to be at Temple Fest, which is in August. That's Christopher Penzak, the Temple of Witchcraft, hosts that. So we're going to be there. And yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. And then, of course, October. Very busy here in Salem.
I love to be in Salem in October there. I think I was just a day shy of it. We went over in September, the end of September a few years ago.
Still very busy in September.
It is.
It is.
Wonderful. It's just to get out my shorts. That was the main thing. I could walk around in shorts. It's amazing.
Yep. So I grew up in Salem. My family is a Salem family. So my grandfather was a Salem police officer for 30 years. My uncle was a Salem firefighter for 30 years. So my family has been here. That's how I ended up here.
It's an amazing place, and this is the address there. If you look up, it's www.penguinrandomhouse.ca there, and you can find Leanne and Sandra's books there on that website. There's also links from our post during the week as well. Just a few more shout outs there, because people are just asking a couple more questions. Thank you for everyone participating tonight. Sorry, no, my mouse is a bit slow. Sorry, no, where we go? Mike wants to know: Are angels former mortal people who have passed?
Angels are something very specific. Angels are an entity. So I think some people are talking maybe about guardian angels, and that's more like guardian spirits, people that have passed that are watching over you. We might call those guardian angels, but that's not like in the, I don't know, definition of angel. Those are different entities. They're not human. They're different.
And just a question there for you there, Leanne, as well. From Joanne, do you get many calls from parents talking about their child's spiritual gift?
Yes, I do. Very, very often. And very often the parents will confuse these gifts as hindrances. Sometimes children's psychic abilities appear as ADD, depression, and we do have long conversations about tips and advice to help these kids to learn how to use their gifts to the best of their abilities, and also not to be able to protect themselves.
Sure.
We talk about children in all 3 of our books.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. We have a chapter on children in every single book.
That's great, because it is people like children there, the future there, and how they dictated how they learn is reading through books there, and it's great to have those chapters in your books as well. Joanne says, quite a few people ask me about paranormal investigations. They are interested, but then say, but I couldn't go to one.
Yeah, people are fascinated and yet still afraid, you know. Maybe someday they'll get through it. They'll get past the fear enough, and the curiosity will be great enough that they'll take the chance.
Michael Dwyer says, do you just talk to each other? No, I'm here as well. So, I don't
I'm not sure what he means about.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, last question. Paul says, what is a safe crystal after an investigation? I suppose.
Oh, I think, Leanne, you mentioned that you like obsidian.
I like black obsidian. It's a heavy stone, and it just brings me immediately right to the right place. Also, a tiger's eye is wonderful for protection as well.
And I like black tourmaline. And obviously, I talked about hematite. Yeah. So black tourmaline is very protective as well. And hematite for grounding and bringing you back.
And Joanne wants to know, are you Salem local gals, you drawn to live there? So we know from you, Sandra, there. Leanne, were you Salem?
I am not completely local to Salem. I'm about a half an hour away, very close to where the airport is. I was drawn to Salem where the witches were, and I was a novice, and I strolled into town, and I met some really great and some interesting people that kind of accepted me into their community.
And Mike wants to know, I suppose, so I just put it into it, whereas do people with dementia, do they regain the memory on the other side?
So my mom passed from dementia, and while she was still alive, I had better conversations with her spirit self than I had with her physical self. So I started communicating with my mom's higher self while she was still here, because that part of her mind had already crossed over. There was a time for a few years where my mom had like one foot in each world. And so it was actually easier for me to communicate with her higher self than with her physical self that was here.
Yeah,
so that's an excellent question. I felt like my mom started transitioning before her body did. Like her spirit was already starting to cross. And so I could communicate with her much the way I would somebody that had already passed.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking to a lady there, a future guest there, Eleanor there, and she was there the weekend, and she was talking about how she's doing transmediumship, and she was half in and half out, and that people could notice her there when she was half in and half out, as in the eyes change and all that. And it's just, it is interesting there that you mentioned that communication is probably better at doing it the spiritual way if somebody is suffering with that kind of condition. What do you reckon to that, Leanne?
I find that if you wanted to communicate with, I would use a soda light because it's awesome for communication, but it'll also relieve the anxiety that dementia does. It affects your stress level and all of that. So I would use soda light or maybe lapis to open up that. The lapis for intuition. It also helps connect you to your ancestors. And if this is a parent, that's definitely your ancestor.
And Christy wants to know, when I'm lying in bed, just coming to the last few questions, and when I'm lying in bed just before I sleep with my eyes closed, I get vague, clear flashes and visions that only last a split second, but I can get up to 30 or 30 each night. Any idea if this means something?
That sounds like clairvoyance to me. And I would work with that. And I would try to, Leanne and I are always talking about journaling and keeping a green journal near the bed. So I would try to jot any of that down if you're interested in pursuing it, and look into training your psychic mind so that you're actually able to retain some of these things and delve into the meaning of them.
Mike says, thank you there. I think that's towards both the questions that they're about to mention there as well. And Alice says the same, that resonates. My man passed with dementia also. Yes, so we'll go to I suppose it's the competition time now. We're going to see if you're both right, Leanne, see if you're in with a chance to go into the Halloween Mega Draw, and you, Sandra, because you both got the same area of the room which you're going to point the SLS camera. So let's see. Joanne, also you picked the chair. So we're going to go with the piano first and just see. So I'm just going to mute ourselves there. So here we goes. Let me see if you're right there, Leanne and Sandra. Yes! I don't know if you got that. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it there, folks.
I saw it.
You saw a little figure, matchstick man. That's what we were looking for there. So there's Lady Maria. You were right there, Sandra. You were right there, Leanne. I'm sorry there, Joanne, but you're still in the Halloween Mega Draw there, Joanne, as well. So you'll be Leanne.
I think there was one other person that said piano in the comments.
I know, yeah, but I can't go through it. It's the first person to type the
answers. Okay.
I'll be here all night. Sandy, you shouldn't be saying anything. You're in the draw. And before we go there, before I go on to one last thing there, can you give us a little? Because Sandra is part of a tribute band to a famous band. Can you give us a little note there? A little song. Go on.
Now here you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down?
It's not the cause.
Knows it,
it's
right?
not the cause. Obviously, it's Fleetwood Mac there and Stevie Nicks. They're legendary there. Like, cheers, Sandra, for singing there. Just another few more shout outs. Christy says thank you there. Joanne says thank you, Joanne Breen. Michael Dwyer says you guys are amazing. I think it is amazing, but it's scary. That's cool there. That's great. That's great to know. Also, I think I've gone down a bit there. I think Joanne says congratulations. Anyway, so folks, Mike says he's shared you, and great show, ladies. And lad, I was third. So Paul. Joanne says, lovely to meeting you, ladies, and Anthony, very interesting. Yeah, so if you can follow as well, Leanne and Sandra, they've got the Psychic Tea show as well. That's coming up there. There's a link to it as well on our
on Facebook. Yep, you can watch from anywhere. As long as you have the internet, you can watch our show. Perfect.
And just for the next show there, folks, we have Eleanor B. Scott from the Ghost Club speaking about the Golden Dawn, Auras, and Loftus Hall, the Hall of Dreams. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time there. I think that's about it, really. And thank you, Leanne and Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying up so late. Thank you, everyone that stayed up so late. I know I'm only joking.
Thank
it's
you
not that
so
late.
Much.
It's not late here at all.
No, it's not late.
Not
late. You see the daylight. The daylight is still there. It's coming over to you.
It's still daylight here.
I know. It's all dark now.
Still daylight.
Here in Ireland. But love to you all. And everyone, thank you for participating. And love to you all. Slaga for Avishka Margaret there. Bye, everyone. Mwah.